No.
All right, what do we got?
Standing before the court is Eric Wade Hempel. He's here on the matter of the state of South Carolina versus Eric Wade Hempel. This is a waiver presented to the grand jury. He was originally indicted for a murder offense in this case, Your Honor, and we'll get into the details of exactly what happened. The state's understanding is here for the purpose of a guilty plea to accessory after the fact of murder. He was involved with co-defendant Shelby Ashby, that's alleged in the indictment. We'll talk about that in details. We understand that this is a offer plea to 10 years of an active sentence, Your Honor, on this, and Ricky Todd's representing him. He specifically is agreeing that he intentionally assisted Shelby Ashby with the crime of murder on Harry Barkley.
All right.
Shelby Ashby being the principal.
Does he wish to plead guilty or not guilty?
Is my understanding which is clear in both Norm versus Law?
And do you agree with that decision?
I do, Your Honor.
Based upon the information you have, if this case proceeded to trial, do you feel that the state can prove your client's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt?
Your Honor, I believe there is such a high risk that is, that's possible, that this plea and the negotiations will be beneficial to his will.
All right, Mr. Hempel, you've been charged with accessory after the fact of a murder, and according to your lawyer, you wish to enter a guilty plea pursuant to the Supreme Court case of North Carolina versus Alford, which is commonly referred to as an Alford plea. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I wish to plead guilty, Your Honor.
Has anybody promised you anything other than this negotiated sentence to get you to plead guilty?
No, sir, Your Honor.
That defendant Eric Wade Hempel did on or between the dates of August 27th of 2020 and August 29th of 2020 in Georgetown County, South Carolina, willfully, knowingly, and intentionally receive, relieve, comfort, harbor, and assist Shelby Ashby with the crime of murder of Harry Barkley after Shelby Ashby had committed the aforementioned crime. The defendant knew that the crime had been committed by Shelby Ashby and then assisted in the furtherance of the crime, all in violation of 16-1, 550 South Carolina Code of Laws, 1976 as amended, Your Honor. And once again, it's our understanding he's all for pleading to those facts.
All right, Mr. Hempel, do you understand the allegations against you?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
And are those the allegations you're pleading guilty to?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Todd, anything in mitigation?
Your Honor, I'd just like to put on the record, my client has been incarcerated for 1,036 days. He was picked up in Tennessee and brought back to Georgetown County, waiting for this trial. And he's greatly appreciative of the offer from the state.
All right. Mr. Hempel, anything you want to say?
No, sir, Your Honor.
Mr. Harry Barkley went missing with his family back in August of 2020. Right from the beginning, it's a very difficult case in that it came to the attention of law enforcement as a missing persons case. There was he had a relationship with Shelby Ashby. Folks have known that, but family members and very loving family members have been through this the entire time, continued to try to find the whereabouts of Harry. He was well loved in the community. They're trying to find where he was. I believe his brother Chris is on a Facebook phone right now listening, and couldn't be here today. He was instrumental at that time because of the absence of leads between Georgetown County and Williamsburg County trying to determine where Harry last was. Ultimately, it was Chris that found Harry's car that had been taken in the river on Shavis Landing and disposed of in the river. There wasn't any physical evidence of who did that, but the car was found there. The case, despite the best efforts of the family, had kind of stalled, and it wasn't until there was some surreptitious and extensive number of potential suspects that had been developed by both Williamsburg County and Georgetown. In the end, Georgetown allowed Williamsburg to cover the case because they believed he lost his life or was in Williamsburg, and Williamsburg thought Georgetown should handle it because it's right on the line. Both the issue was right across both county lines. Ultimately, the major break in the came when there was some hearsay information relating to the involvement of Shelby Ashby, who was Mr. Hempel's part-time girlfriend, or Harry's part-time girlfriend. There may have been a relationship between Mr. Hempel or not. It's not relevant for this point. And in a statement that Shelby Ashby had made, she had indicated that she was in the trailer, in a trailer in Georgetown County. Unbeknownst to her, Mr. Hempel was in the trailer, and then Mr. Blakey came over there, an argument ensued, and Harry was shot. There was a lot of discussion. She claimed that Mr. Hempel shot him. Other statements said that Shelby had said that she shot him. Point being, from the very beginning, there was always a very difficult discussion over who fired the fatal shot. What is incontroverted is both of them acted together in concert to take Mr. Barkley's body out of Georgetown County into Williamsburg County and attempt to destroy his body in the Weetee Forest area in Williamsburg County. They doused his body with gasoline, burned his body down to as much as they could get rid of. When that wasn't enough, they used an axe to cut him into pieces to try to get rid of his bones. Of interest, no one had found that until Shelby Ashby, after being confronted by law enforcement, took investigators to the location to find the mortal remains of Harry, but claimed the only reason she did that is because Eric Hempel made her do all of that. Ultimately, based on that information, we obtained warrants in Georgetown County for murder on both parties. The physical remains of Mr. Barkley's resting place was in Williamsburg County, and those charges remain pending in Williamsburg County. He was arrested in Tennessee and left the area and was brought back here to face these charges. Looking from the record, it appears as if this case was on trial roster back in July. It was going to be tried in July, as far as I can tell. Unbeknownst to Georgetown County law enforcement, all the file information from Williamsburg County hadn't been shared to Georgetown County, and that took it. Georgetown County law enforcement got it back, got it to our office in preparation for trying. And the run up to this situation, while we find ourselves here today, is we're projecting this case to be first on the trial roster in the May term of court, in consultations with Shelby Ashby's attorney. Ms. Ashby had given previous statements to law enforcement, and Shelby Ashby was under a potential proffer agreement to testify against Mr. Hempel in the matter in the May term of court. That conversation in court the week prior to she died of a fentanyl overdose in the Georgetown County Detention Center on Saturday morning. She was with her advice of her counsel to testify against Mr. Hempel on the facts. She is no longer on this earth, and based on that, we find ourselves in court at an eyewitness of the case, accepting a guilty plea to an accessory after the fact of the murder. Because we do not know who the trigger man was, we are forced into position to accept this fact pattern based on the death of the eyewitness. I know the victims want to address the court at an appropriate time.
My name is Yvonne West. I am the mother of Harry Lee Barkley. My son was taken from me August the 27th, 2020. A day I'll never forget. Took me 9 months to find my son's body. You lost, Eric Wade Hempel. My son won, because the light overcomes the darkness and gives peace to my son. Gave us faith with the Spirit of God. The light brings out the truth at the end. You took my son from me. You took a brother, an uncle, nephew, a grandchild. What right did you have to make that decision? You took a happy soul, a giving heart. You took away my boy. Forever getting married and having children. You shortened his life for no reason. You thought that we would forget about my son, but you were wrong. Because my son, we loved him very much, and there was no way we would have never forgot about my son. Because he was loved by many. I have mercy on your soul. But my God, that I know up above, he's going to give wrath to you. You can believe that. There's no judgment on earth that can fit you. You shot my boy, you burned him, you cut him up in pieces and threw him away like he was a piece of trash in the woods. My boy was way better than that. So, my son Harry Barkley, he rides into the sunset of light because he is in heaven. That's where my boy is now. I feel pity on your soul. I really do. I want to thank my family and my friends and my fiance for being there for me for almost 4 years. They have been comforting me all through this. And I thank them for that. And I thank my God up above for getting me through each day. I had to struggle each day of getting up each morning just to push myself. I committed suicide and overdose, but it wasn't my time to go. My boy said, "You have to stay here and fight for me." And I did. But you deserve more than what you're getting. But my God will see the wrath. I promise you that. Thank you.
Oftentimes I can say what a just resolution things are. I'm not able to say that today. I think it is a resolution. That's all.
All right, Ms. Hempel, I will accept your guilty plea. I find that it's made knowingly, voluntarily, fully advised of your rights as a defendant and the nature of the charge against you and the consequences of your guilty plea. I also find that there is a factual basis to support the charge against you. Likewise, I'll accept the negotiated sentence reached between you and the state. Sentence of the court is that you be confined to the State Department of Corrections for 10 years. You'll receive credit for 1,036 days served thus far.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
We have a moment, Your Honor, for the family. There's another matter.
Let me just ask what you think about what happened today as far as the negotiated plea goes.
Well, I certainly don't think it's fair. I feel that if Shelby Ashby had still been here today, that a different road would have certainly been taken. And I feel that on behalf of me and my family, we all feel that if Shelby Ashby had still been here and Georgetown County wouldn't have taken so long to get to where we are today, that I feel like we wouldn't have the outcome that we had.
When you were told by the solicitor's office that this is how they have to do it because of Shelby's death, what were your first thoughts when you heard, wait a minute, he's only going to get 10 years and, he gets credit for the time served, so he's probably only going to serve 2 or 3 more years when it comes, when you heard all that, what was the thoughts?
It's certainly frustrating. It doesn't feel fair to us at all. I just wish that more could have been done in Harry Barkley's case. Being his sister and coming from the rest of his family, it doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel like justice at all.